Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Marika and thank you for popping in to watch this watercolored stamping tutorial of mine. Today I'm gonna use Birch stamp set and show you how easily you can create watercolored scenes with it. If you like watercolored look on your cards but you want to achieve it quickly, you may find this technique to be right for you. I created both of these cards using the same technique but different inks. In this first card here, I used distress inks for stamping and then blended the ink with damp brush. I used less water so I was able to achieve a bit more detailed look. In this second card here, I did everything in the same way as in the first one, but I used Zig clean color markers to stamp my images, and then I blended the ink with my water brush. I used more water so the result is more loose and not that detailed. But before I bore you with my talk, let's go into today's tutorial. I started out by adhering my watercolor paper to a flat surface and taped all the edges to prevent the paper warping. Since I wanted the anthill to be in front, I stamped it first and then adhered a mask over it before stamping the tree trunks. I used black Zig clean color marker to stamp my trunks, and I purposely left some areas without ink while I was applying the marker to my stamp. That was why, because I wanted to be able to add leaves and the birdhouse in front of the trunk, so this felt that it would be the easiest way to mask off some areas. To create the branches, I used the same technique. I added the marker directly to my stamp and I left some areas uninked to be able to add leaves later. To get some variation, I mounted the branch stamp to my acrylic block differently between each branch. Basically, I used the same technique to stamp the leaves as well. Firstly, I took the biggest leaf stamp and added the lightest green marker and stamped it to my project. I used second, maybe third generation stamping as well to get more variation to my leafy areas. I tried to be loose and not really think a whole lot while I was stamping. I was just having fun. At some point I changed into medium-sized leaf stamp and added some darker spots here and there. And now the fun part starts. You may have thought by looking at this card that this is so difficult and time-consuming to do. Please bear with me for a second. I assure you this is really easy and quick technique. Just look, I just take my water brush and I add water here and there. Since we used Zig clean color markers for stamping, they really run well when in touch with water. So just by adding the water here and there, you are able to gain this watercolored look. Just let the water do the work for you. One thing to be aware of though, since the Zig markers blend so well when water is added, try not to touch the trunk while you're blending the leaves. Otherwise, you'll end up with this really abstract look. Now I changed into a Derwent water brush since it gives me less water than the Kuretake one. So I was hoping that by using less water, I would be able to maintain more details on the trunk. But you know, these markers really blend well. What I did, I just gently touched the paper with my water brush and I let the water do the work for me again. I watercolored the anthill and the birdhouse almost the same way. I mainly just blended the ink. For these, I ended up adding a bit of shading to get some variation and dimension. For the birds, I actually used waterproof ink for these since I wanted them to remain as sharp as stamped. I added a tiny bit of yellow to their tummies and that's it. For the ground, I used a leaf stamp to stamp the ground and I blended it with water. To watercolor my sky, I added a light wash of tumbled glass Tris's ink. I let the inks blend among the leaves, but near the trunk and the birdhouse, I tried not to let the inks blend together to maintain some details. At the end, I used black pigment ink to stamp my sentiment. I trimmed the white edges off and adhered a piece of craft foam behind my watercolored panel. Then I used Altenew pale grey cardstock as my card base and adhered the panel to it. It actually took about 30 minutes from start to finish to create this card, and I was very surprised how quickly I was able to gain this watercolored look. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this video and found it helpful. I list all the products that I used in my blog and the link will be at the description below. Please visit Altenew blog for more inspiration. Thank you very much for your time. See you soon. Bye!